oh, well, I eat healthy. Well, first of all, no, you don't, because nobody really does. That's, I don't eat healthy either. So, but I do the best I can, and I've created lifestyle patterns that are helping me. I met Chris when we were doing my very first Pilates video, and I thought, this one friend of mine, Larry, who's kind of a character, he's just a really giving person. Chris was working kind of with him. Larry says, let's make you a video, So, came over, and Chris came in the basement, never met him before, and I had a bunch of ladies who volunteered to be in it, which was really gracious. And we shot this Pilates video, and I realized I love being in front of the camera. I'm fine with it, because I think to myself, I can talk to a lot of people this way. That's why I do Pilates online. Thanks, Rona, you precious darling. Rona actually is a local member. She comes to my house for classes, but she is a member online as well. And so she is my friend, and she told me that she wanted to learn more about nutrition. So yes, there's the entire weight loss program, but what we're going to talk about is the actual science behind what I teach in our weight loss program. So because of Rona's wonderful suggestion, we're able to sit down and show everyone exactly why this program works for people and how practical it is. So thank you very much for your suggestion, Rona. That was really cool. Yeah.
I love it. I just love it.
Thank you. You want to just have a better diet?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So, and then Rona over here, having just had a little one, it's just very difficult, because the other day I went to her house and she was making cupcakes. She had this beautiful kitchen with her countertop full of cupcakes, and sometimes you just have to make cupcakes. But it's hard not to. Was it hard for you not to eat too much of those?
Yes.
Yeah.
I made them for a baby shower.
Mm-hmm.
I gave a lot of them away, but I have a stack of them at home still. So I have cupcakes for the morning, for lunch, and for dinner.
That's just great, Rona. So we're going to talk today also about temptation, but I also want to introduce Vicki, my wonderful close friend who is also a senior. What are your interests in learning the Healthy Life program?
I want to lose weight. I'm on blood pressure medication, and I want to get off of that and just get healthier.
So we want to keep our blood levels in the right place, and younger people like Rona aren't concerned about that. So that's a very, very important thing to mention for this video. So we're going to talk about healthy lifestyles. When you're doing any kind of a diet, in order to keep the weight off, it has to become a lifestyle. The ideas that I'm going to share with you in my healthy lifestyle approach are from a couple of really good doctors. One is Dr. Joseph Mercola, and one is Dr. Ray Strand. These two gentlemen are some of the pioneers of the more modern science of how to really stay healthy and young for the long term. Why do we need this healthy lifestyle? We already know that. We've given the reasons for that. Let's start talking about it. Today's health reality is people are getting sick. People are getting heart disease, cancer, stroke, respiratory problems, and a lot of these are related to diabetes. Cardiovascular problems are primarily related to the way that we eat, the way that we eat. We want to talk about diabetes today and the epidemic of diabetes. This statistic is a little bit older, but 1/3 of all the children born in the U.S. Will have type 2 diabetes by the time they're in their lifetime. And then half of the Black and Hispanic children will develop that. Now, when I do my presentation for the kids, I tell the kids, it doesn't have to happen to you. This statistic, we can prove it wrong by just learning a few things and implementing them in our lifestyle. Yes?
What is the difference between diabetes, type 2 diabetes? Is there any
Good question. There's a type 1 diabetes. It's called type 1 diabetes, and that is when your pancreas does not produce insulin, basically. That's the basic explanation of what it is incapable of giving ourselves the insulin that we need in order to manage our sugar/energy flow into the blood. So the type 2 diabetes happens because of what we're going to explain in this video. Basically, the way I say it in plain language is type 2 diabetes is when your pancreas wears out. It can no longer produce the amounts of insulin that your body is calling for. Okay? in the Healthy for Life program, we find that 75% of adults 65 years of age or older have a degenerative disease. One of these diseases that we mentioned. Half will have two or more of these diseases in their lifetime. And 1/3 of children will get diabetes. 67% of North Americans are obese. And frankly, that has gone up. This stat is just a few years old now. In the year 2015, 75% of all adults and 24% of all children will be obese. Now, we don't have to do that. We have plenty of choices. So we're going to take a look at some of those today. Weight control facts. You know, everybody wants to lose weight. Everybody's on a diet. 30% of Americans are trying to lose weight, and the other 30% are trying to maintain their weight. Americans spend over $30 billion per year on diet and weight loss programs alone. That's not including exercise programs. 2/3 of those who are on a diet will gain the weight back within a year. And, you know, we all know that that's because you're either on a diet or you're off a diet. Unless something becomes what you really want and choose in your lifestyle, you're just not going to stick with it. Okay? Why a lot of diets don't work. Now, the word diet just means a way of eating. So what I am sharing is also sort of a diet, but what we want to do is focus on lifestyle. And often we're offered wonderful programs by very thoughtful scientists and others who are able to help us to lose weight. But whether or not we can implement that into our real lifestyle is what makes all the difference, right? So there is a diet by Dr. Ornish, which calls for very low calories, and what happens there is you pretty much feel starving all the time. And then there's Dr. Atkins, which we're familiar with that. That's the low-carb diet, but we really are missing out on a food group there, and that's the carbohydrate. We need carbohydrate to think, and we need carbohydrate for all the nutrients that we get there through the good carbohydrates. Few of these tackle the core issue of keeping our blood sugar balanced all the time. Diets are often a short-term solution for a long-term problem. So we need to look at our lifestyle, okay? Think about how you live, what's comfortable for you. So Dr. Campbell and Dr. Esselstyn are wonderful, amazing doctors who've done some great research on plant science and how plant-based diet is so healing. Well, even their research is just a little bit older now because we're learning a few more things, okay? So there are 3 components that will help us to maintain our healthy lifestyle for the long term. We need to use fitness. Now, of course, we all know that because Great Pilates now is all about fitness, and we need to make sure that that becomes a comfortable, fun thing in our lifestyle, whether it's going out dancing, which Mary and I did last night, and we got good cardio exercise dancing, or whatever we do, walking the dog, whatever we do. Supplementation and eating are what we're going to talk about too. A lot of people think that supplementation isn't necessary. The science is out there. We absolutely need to add some to our healthy diet in order to get what we need to really stay healthy for the long term. So let's talk about our goals. How do we want to feel? What do we want? What do we really want for our lives? If you don't really want it, then you're never going to really take the steps to change. So a lot of us want to have more energy. We get fatigued, and we want to have that long-term energy and mental clarity. Mental clarity is such an amazing thing that you get through this program. You're able to think more clearly. You're able to have better moods. One that we want to look at that most people don't think about is reducing inflammation in the body, anti-inflammatory eating. That is very key if you want to avoid things like fibromyalgia, arthritis for the long term. Now, an energy roller coaster. I love doing this slide for the kids because it really is like a roller coaster, and we've seen that. Some of us have seen that in our own lives. What happens is when we spike our blood sugar, that's kind of our new word, sugar spike. We need to know what that means. What we do is we take in foods that cause our blood sugar to rise too fast. Now that has to do with a concept called glycemic index, okay? All that is how fast sugar gets in your blood when you eat a certain food, okay? What we have is a band where we want to keep our blood sugar in order to maintain energy and keep our body as healthy as we can without producing too much insulin. So when we have too much sugar in the blood and go above that, then bad things begin to happen to the body. So when you have a meal that is a high glycemic meal, I like to use the example of what we just saw, breakfast, okay? So many of us are in a habit of eating a high glycemic breakfast, and that one initial change is what I refer to in many of the blogs as one of the very first and most important things we want to do is eat a breakfast which will stabilize your blood sugar for the morning, which means we must include good fat and good protein somehow. So what we're going to do is look at that red line. The red line is the high glycemic food. See the high GI there? When we eat a high glycemic breakfast, like say instant oatmeal or even oatmeal from McDonald's, or if we have cereal or a muffin and coffee, that sort of thing, what happens is our blood sugar level goes too high and we feel pretty good for a while. But because we have to produce the insulin in order to bring that down, our body wants to make us feel good. So we begin to produce insulin in order to cope with that blood sugar surge. And then it literally takes the blood sugar to low quicker than if we would have had a good protein with that breakfast. So the orange line is the safe line. That would be someone who had maybe a whey protein shake or a meal shake or maybe some eggs or turkey sausage with their other foods in order to keep their blood sugar from spiking. Okay, that has to do with the glycemic load in your meal. When you take a meal that has some high glycemic foods, like for example, when you have a donut or a muffin, and if you actually have a plate of scrambled eggs with it, not that the donut and muffin are good foods, but you'll be able to balance your blood sugar. So we don't have to have a purist approach. We don't have to have an approach which says there are certain foods that are all bad. Okay? There's no food that's really bad. Now think of it. When you see that beautiful piece of lasagna on a plate, my gosh, who can say that's bad? That's good, you know? Or when we see that beautiful chocolate cake or that pie, those are all good. But we just need to learn the tips and the science so that we can eat those at the right times and in the right portions so that we don't spike our blood sugar. Okay? So as we see, our blood sugar has now crashed in the red line at about 10:30, which means if we're at the office, we might be going to the candy machine or we might be going to the break room to get a donut or something. And that is going to yet be another sugar spike. So one of my main keys is to please start your morning with a protein breakfast, okay? Let's talk about glycemic index of certain foods. Remember, glycemic index is how fast sugar goes in the blood. And you can see in the red letters, the donut, bagel, popcorn, even baked potato and bread, all those are in the high glycemic index category. Now, on the website, you'll see I have a more full picture, so you can refer to the articles on that. But here we can see that something like baked potato, gosh, I thought that was a vegetable. I thought that was a healthy food for me. Well, it is one of those kind of foods that I'm going to share with you are a blood sugar spike. So, for example, if you are trying to lose weight, those shouldn't be in your diet. Or if you are pre-diabetic or if you're in metabolic syndrome, pre-diabetes, then you don't want to have those kind of things in your cupboard. So some of the things that are surprisingly medium are even the table sugar. In a low dose of table sugar is not going to spike your blood sugar, you know. So that's good because it is the type of sugar that's not going into your bloodstream fast. It's not like the high fructose corn syrup, which goes in there quicker. And of course, anything that has a fat in it, like you can see the yogurt has a fat and protein in there, so it's not going to spike it. And unless you have a yogurt that has a lot of sugar, and like some of the children's yogurts, they have too much sugar in there. Now, these are the good things right down here. You can just have as much as you want. You want to replace your chips, tortilla chips and potato chips with all kinds of nuts, any kind of nuts that you want to have. Some people prefer different kinds, and not too many of those dried fruits. A lot of people think they're super healthy, but they really are a sugar spike. You need to have those with something that's one of the nuts or a protein like a cheese. Okay, so you can see how we're beginning to understand how these puzzle pieces fit together. These types of foods are what we want to place in our diet in order to keep our glycemic load of our meal at a stable level. Now, some of the modern doctors that teach that plant-based diets are the most healthy way, this is where we would disagree. Now, what my recommendation, and along with Dr. Strand and Dr. Mercola is to go ahead and have these kind of meats in the right portions at the right times. We don't want to have a meat-dominant diet, okay? That leads to a lot of cardiovascular disease. But it's okay to use these kind of things because the worst of the two evils, having too much meat or spiking your blood sugar, okay? Which one is worse, spiking your blood sugar, according to the new science that we're learning now from Dr. Ray Strand and Dr. Joseph Mercola and many others. So in order to not spike your blood sugar, you're might be able to add eggs to a meal. Or if you are a vegetarian, there are plenty of, on the website I have an article that shows plenty of foods that have lots of protein in them that you can use without using meat.
I eat for breakfast yogurt with fruit.
Mm-hmm.
So is that good or is that not, because it's like all we know?
Rona asked a good question. She said she has yogurt with fruit for breakfast, and she's a mom who's really trying to be healthy. And the recommendation that Dr. Ray Strang, Dr. Joe Mercola, and Kat James would give, and myself, is to make sure that your yogurt is full-fat yogurt without sugar in it. So a lot of times people are into the Greek yogurts that are zero Greek yogurts and you know, they're good foods, they're not bad foods. But what we want to do, especially with a person who is trying to burn fat, they need to have a certain amount of fat in their diet in order to burn that fat. Now, I'm not recommending that you have a big fat steak, but a little bit of that animal fat in your yogurt is actually going to balance your blood sugar, and you're going to feel that energy and mental clarity to take care of those kids for the morning. Now, having the fruit that's pure fruit without the extra added sugar in it is the best way to go. So you're going to throw the fresh strawberries in there. You are going to, if you really want to help yourself to stabilize that out, you're going to add a nut butter to that combo. Take a nice little tablespoon of like good almond butter or good peanut butter, some kind of cashew butter, nice nut butter. Those three foods, the nut butter, the fruit, and the yogurt, are a very nice breakfast combination. You've got the good fat, good protein, good carb in there. So as we go on, we can ask about questions and examples, and you're welcome to disagree too. We can discuss that. Because I don't own the science on this. All I know is what really works practically for a lot of the people that I talk to and what I've learned from these great doctors. Okay? Did that make some sense to you? All right. So we all know how it feels when our blood sugar crashes, right? We just want to eat everything in sight, or we feel very tired, okay? So a lot of other things happen. The premise that I try to teach, even in Pilates, is your body is a magnificent, wonderful machine, and it's constantly working to make you feel good. That's the mantra. Your body is working to make you feel good. So your body says, what can we do to help this person feel good? I'm going to release adrenaline and cortisol to help them maintain their energy and mental clarity until they can eat again. Also, what happens when we get into the shaky weakness and mental fog is our brain thinks we're starving. Because our brain doesn't know. We're on our way driving home from work. Our brain doesn't know that there's a refrigerator full of food waiting for us. Our brain only knows physiologically what's happening right then. So we go into this mode of starvation, which causes us to release these hormones that are only meant to be released for emergencies, and they really do age you. They're not healthy for you. So if you are a hero person who thinks that they can go all day without eating and that's real healthy for you, look at what you could be doing to your body to make you age quicker and have a lot more inflammation in your body going on. So we want to look at those things. So remember the band of blood sugar that we want to keep our blood sugar in. Well, when our blood sugar goes up and down and up and down, like if some of us are living on, okay, we had our muffin for breakfast, then we're going to have our banana for our midday snack, and we're going to feel real good about having what would be a lunch that would be partial sugar spike. Well, we might go for fast food then and treat ourselves because we've been so good that morning or something. When your blood sugar spikes in the morning and you release insulin in order to cope with that, and it goes down again, get hungry, and guess what? We repeat that. Some of us repeat that pattern up to 5 times a day. And usually when we do that over time, our body can't handle that anymore. Now we're going to talk about the topic that people don't understand too much. It's inflammation in your body. Inflammation is actually a good thing. It happens when your body is trying to heal itself. But if it happens too much, it creates problems in the body. Some people know what lupus is, anything that's related to the joints, aching, fibromyalgia, or arthritis. Those are mostly the result of different types of inflammation in your body. So chronic inflammation lies at the root of practically every disease known to man, from weight gain, obesity, to heart disease. Did you know that when you spike your blood sugar, not only are you releasing too much insulin, your arteries are becoming inflamed when you do that. So what ends up happening is your arteries have to keep healing and healing, and we know that when things have to injure and heal over time, they become more stiff. So our arteries become less flexible just from spiking your blood sugar. It's amazing how these things are related. That's from the teaching of Dr. Ray Strand. So our autoimmune disorders like lupus, MS, rheumatoid arthritis, these are all related to inflammation and cancer. Okay, so we want to really take a look at this lifestyle of anti-inflammatory eating. This is a good one. You know, sometimes we eat a healthy meal and we feel like we want to feel good, but we just can't feel energetic. We can't get off the couch. Now, this happens because of something that happens inside your blood. Now, when you are eating, spiking your blood sugar, and you have too much insulin in your blood over time, your muscle cells cannot receive the energy from the food because they're blocked. The receptor sites shut down because there's too much insulin in the blood, okay? When they shut down, then what happens is that energy / sugar has to go somewhere, and we all know where it's going to go very easily. So our energy becomes stored as fat. That's the bad news. We know from seeing a lot of different people in our experience that fat cells can keep growing. They're not limited. We can get as fat as we want to get. So what we want to do is train our body in the opposite direction. Teach our body through the way that we eat that we're going to use energy in the muscle and we're not going to store it as fat, okay? We can reverse this, and that's what I just began to refer to. We don't want to store our food as fat. We want to use it as energy. So we want to keep the blood sugar rolling in that same band. Remember the two lines coming across? That's the simple way. It takes a little time, a little bit of lifestyle changes. That's the simple way that we can change that. We can literally change over some forms of type 2 diabetes, and we can certainly change over pre-diabetic people to people that have very healthy fat-burning body. So that's really good news. That's why I tell the children, for the children's sake, that they don't have to ever get diabetes because they can learn this at an early age. Some of us are learning this for the first time, and we're already becoming pre-diabetic. What happens when we maintain our blood sugar levels is our fat cells starve, the receptor sites shut down. So we're not using energy as fat. We're using energy to feel like doing something fun. We regenerate insulin receptor sites on the muscle, so this can easily be changed around. So when we keep blood sugar stable, we lose weight, we release fat, we have energy, we feel satisfied. That's huge. How many diets have some of us been on where we felt cravings the whole time? Usually those are calorie-based. Calorie-based diets are a thing of the past. What we want to use now is glycemic index and glycemic load in order to kind of get the ideas of what foods to eat when and how. So we don't have to memorize and measure and weigh. We basically just need to understand the ways to keep the blood sugar stable. And one of the beautiful things about this is we learn it by our feelings. We learn the things that make us feel energetic all day, and then we get addicted to that, and then we don't want to have the things that are going to spike our blood sugar and make us feel tired, and reducing inflammation. So this is our take-home message to keep the blood sugar stable. One of the people mentioned that it's really difficult to find full-fat yogurt in the store. And that's because everyone has good intentions. We don't want to look down on any segment of any population of anybody. But what we have is our medical system is based on something that was taught about 30 years ago, which was eat low-fat or fat-free. Okay? Now, the new science that we're learning hasn't been implemented yet, and it hasn't been put out to the general public so that people will want to purchase those kinds of things very much yet. So in order to get the full-fat yogurt, you will have to go to a more progressive store, like one of those health food stores, Whole Foods, I would recommend on camera. We are not going to be able to agree with the general population in this presentation. A lot of people will say, oh, look at this fat you're eating, how bad it is. Well, you don't want to eat too much of it, but the worst, like I say again, the worst of two evils is spiking your blood sugar. For example, say you go to a morning brunch or a buffet of some type at breakfast, and shoot, you haven't had breakfast yet. Well, oops, because you really should have it before you leave the house. And so you get to this thing, and they have this beautiful display of bagels, white bread bagels, and we all know that that white bread is a sugar spike, and there's likely preservatives in there too. But no food is evil. No food is bad. We're gonna see what we can do with this. So we look across the table and we see, oh, there's some full-fat cream cheese. Well, then I'm going to take a half of one of these, find the grainiest one I can have, and slather a whole lot of the full-fat cream cheese on there. A lot of people would say to me, no, I can't do that. Well, why you do that is you want to eat so as not to spike your blood sugar, so as not to go into inflammation. Now, those are not the best foods in the world, but those are the foods that are available on the table at the time. You see what I'm saying? So we want to work with our real life. We want to learn to go to a buffet and find the thing that's going to help us to feel good. Okay? Does that make sense? Yeah. So after a while, you learn to do this for yourself. Now we're going to talk about the importance of supplementation. Really important. Now, our body is made of cells. A lot of people don't think about that. You know, your body is really, all it is a bunch of cells. Okay? All health and disease starts in the cell. That's where it starts. The cells are what make up the organ systems where you might or might not find a disease. Usually they're really healthy though, right? When your cells are healthy, then your body will take care of itself. What I mean by that is when you're eating and supplementing so as to regenerate cells that are as healthy, optimally as healthy as possible, then all your organ systems will begin to be healthier. One of the ways that we check people's health, and one of the ways doctors do, and good doctors, is they take a look at their skin right away, because the skin is the organ system that really expresses whether the body is getting fed the right nutrients. If you're dehydrated, you can see that in the skin. If you haven't had certain nutrients, you can see that in the skin over time. If you're aging too quickly, you can see inflammation in the body. So it's an organ system that literally expresses your health. So one of the things that happens after you start eating this way and having these proper fats like fish oil, like clean fish oil in your diet over time, is your skin will clear up. Your skin will not feel so dry. Those kind of things will immediately show in that organ system itself. And even the organ systems that you cannot see are going to work much better. Dr. Bruce Ames, professor of toxicology at University of California, Berkeley, has demonstrated that a deficiency in any of the micronutrients such as folic acid, B12, B6, niacin, vitamin C, E, iron, or zinc mimics radiation chemicals found damaging DNA by causing single and double strand breaks and oxidative lesions, or both. So that explanation is by a very well-respected doctor, people that know what's happening with human cells, and I know a couple of other doctors like that too, their work. Living on a lifestyle of junk food is really breaking you down from the inside out. That's the way that I would explain that. It mimics radiation poisoning when, I'm not trying to alarm you, but when cells start to break apart and DNA start to unravel, that is because of not getting the right kind of nutrients. What kind of supplements do I take and how often do I take them? Well, there's a lot of ways that people express this, but what we want to do is take at least a high-quality multivitamin and the essential fatty acids. Now, you can't take those together. Oil and a substance like antioxidant, they're not going to mix, so you have to take two separate ones. Now, there's two kinds of fats that you need to have in your diet. There's the animal fat, and then there's the omega-3 fat, which is coming from plants and fish, okay? Now, you can have flaxseed oil that comes from nuts, but really the best anti-inflammatory oil that is even recommended by our entire drug sales system now is our omega-3 fish oil, okay? We want to have clean omega-3 mercury-free fish oil. that is going to help us very much. Anybody over the age of 40, especially men, should be taking that every day. So these are the things that we want to get into our lifestyle, okay? Before you brush your teeth, fitting it into your day to take proper supplements. I have a friend who has been taking proper supplementation for about 18 months, and his skin was very rough, and you could really see a lot of problems on this person's skin, and now their skin is just looking really good and very, very healthy, and that was a person who actually had skin cancer. So the first thing that you're going to find over time is you're going to feel more energy initially, but you're also going to see your skin looking better, okay? And that goes for people that already do have some damage on their skin as well. Okay, am I receiving all the nutrients I need? Now, here's the argument. Here's what people say. Oh, well, I eat healthy. Well, first of all, no you don't, because nobody really does. That's, I don't eat healthy either. So, but I do the best I can, and I've created lifestyle patterns that are helping me. So what we want to do is recognize that even if we do take all this spinach, look at that huge bowl of spinach, we still don't get enough iron for our bodies per day. So, in order to get as much vitamin C as we need all day, for one day we'd have to eat 16 apples, and those are good, high-quality apples. Some more examples down here. If we need to get 400 IUs of vitamin E every day as adults, we'd have to take 2.2 pounds of almonds and 3.3 pounds of spinach. Now, you're just not going to eat that. Now, how many people actually eat spinach every single day? You don't do that anyway. So what we need is this beautiful thing called concentrated food, which is supplements. And a lot of people make the mistake of, just because it's in the form of a pill, they think it's a drug, where it's actually a food. So we want to change the way of thinking. Our cells need food. Condensed food equals supplementation, right? So that's not a drug, it's a food, okay? So here's what happens. We're talking about inflammation in your body. You can't see this real well, but oxidative stress is the same thing that is inflammation. And oxidation, you know what that is? It's rust. Well, it's a similar thing that happens on cells. So when we have oxidative stress, it comes from free radicals, which we don't want to go into too much detail, but what happens is we have damage that happens in our cell groups in our bodies, and so we need to heal that with something called antioxidants, right? We've all heard that. It's all over the labels on the juices now, which are actually a lot of them full of sugar, so they're not that good. But so we need to have more antioxidants in our lifestyle. We want to have the ones that aren't going to spike our blood sugar, which are lots of dark vegetables and dark fruits. Those are what we want. And then, of course, we need our antioxidant supplement, okay? So free radicals come through daily activity, which we all have. If you don't have stress in your life, you're not a human, right? We have lots of stress. And also, sometimes we receive, toxins from our environment. Now that we know that we need to take supplements, how do we choose one? We go to the drugstore, we look at this array of different brands of supplements. Well, that's me. I just love this picture, because that woman, it's like, what do I choose? My goodness. Well, we can do the best we can, but we have to know that anything that's on the shelf in the store is FDA approved, okay? Well, what does that mean? Well, basically the Food and Drug Administration can't go around policing everybody's supplements that they want to sell. So you really don't know if what it says on the label is actually in the bottle, because they just can't police all those different brands. There's so many that come out constantly. So what you want to have is some brands that have a more stringent testing involved. This person is Dr. Myron Wentz. He's one of my favorite scientists in the whole world. He's done so many good things. He explains to us that he studied cells for his lifetime. That's his lifetime job. He knows what human cells, what makes them better and what kills them. He understands that most health supplements fall far short of meeting our body's nutritional needs. So we want to look at this, take another look at vitamins. We want to find a nice book that'll help us. This is the very best, the Comparative Guide to Nutritional Supplements. You can look it up online, or you can look it up in the library. And it comes out every year. It's done by a very large group of people. It's not product-oriented, endorsing any singular product, which is great, because we just don't want to be pulled around. We want to just get the straight story. We want to look for the 5-star gold standard. We want to look for the safe and effective, high quality, natural. We want to look for something that's absorbable, that'll actually go into the cells, and that's not going to go right through the body. And we also want to look for something that is pharmaceutical grade. What that means is it has the same stringent quality control standards as pharmaceutical drugs, which have very high standards because they are used in hospitals around the country and the world. So I want to be pharmaceutical grade, absorbable, high quality, and very, very well produced in a clean environment. Now, fitness and eating go together very importantly, because when you're spiking your blood sugar and you don't feel like working out, it's because your muscle cells, remember, they're not receiving the energy that they need to receive. So part of what changes our body over is the tandem work of eating right and exercising. We have to do them both, okay? You can lose weight by not exercising, but if you really want to change your body to a fat-burning machine, I highly recommend getting exercise. All right, so we all know what this guy is. Perfect, you know, but this couch potato phenomena is physiological. We feel depressed because we don't want to work out, and then we feel bad about ourselves, so we're still sitting there, then we eat more junk. So it kind of feeds on itself, whereas once we just begin to make the shift into thinking, I can do this, I'm going to be happier, and I've got friends who are here to help me, I've got Judy online to help me, then we can make that shift to move toward just taking a little bit, one upgrade at a time per day, like just starting with having a protein breakfast rather than having nothing or something sweet. Or starting with getting out and walking the dog 5 times a week, fast walking the dog. Or going online and starting the 4-level weight loss program. That's really condensed everything in there. So when you increase your insulin levels, remember, the high glycemic diets combined with the inactivity are the reason that so many people are addicted to, children are addicted to electronics. They're on their cell phones or people are on the computer, and they just can't get up and get away from that computer because their body is starting to lose its fat-burning function, okay? Energy-burning function. So here we go. What fits in your busy schedule better? Exercising 1 hour a day or being dead 24 hours a day? This cartoon is what people are being, literally, they're being told that in their 50s these days. We all know of people that their cardiovascular system is in such poor shape, their blood levels are so bad, triglycerides and cholesterol are so high, that their doctors are saying, you get to decide, are you going to live or die? And so we have to decide. We have to decide for life, and we have to know that there's a lot of forces, including each other and me, and there's so many ways that people can be helped to move forward now. You're not alone. So exercise, what we talked about, improves insulin insensitivity. We don't have to exercise every single day. For example, when we do a Pilates class, we should actually skip a day and allow our bodies to heal, because there's a lot of weightlifting that's involved in Pilates. If you do a full Pilates class, you need to let your body recover so that it can be even better for the following day. So one of the ways that I do it is, of course, I'm doing a lot of classes, but every other day I do a cardio exercise, which you don't need to go into. But that can be anything. We can do our Zumba, we can do the cardio Pilates that's on the weight loss program, we can do our dog walking, we can dance to the oldies in front of the mirror, anything you want. So find the thing that is fun for you. Let's talk about what we do. What do you do, Linda, for your cardio exercise? Oh, Linda is a Zumba dancer. Very good. Beautiful. That's really cute. I can just picture you, Asian friend, doing the Latin dance. Shaking your booty. How about you, Rob?
Well, I do a lot of cycling and then cross-country skiing machine.
Good, good. Mary, do you want to share?
I go on the treadmill once in a while.
So you've got a treadmill. That's a good step. Anybody else? Vicki? Haven't been doing that much? Okay. Oh, Vicki does Pilates. That's some exercise right there. And Rona?
I did walking each day, but it's not working right now, so I'm missing the cardio.
Yes. So that's okay. Rona made a good point. You know, there are times in our life and phases in our life where we're just not going to be able to get out and do as much cardio as we like to do. So what we want to do is let ourselves off the hook. as soon as you start being hard on yourself with your diet or your exercise, then you go off because you don't want to face that guilt of feeling like I'm not doing it. You want to keep yourself in a fun state. Okay, so I couldn't exercise today. Maybe my husband will take me out dancing tonight. Which I'm sure Frank would. He's very loving and kind. How about you, Ray?
I walk 4 to 5 times a week, but it's not, I wouldn't say it's cardio.
Okay, so you're out, you're going for a walk. That's good. So the idea would be to keep your heart rate up in a comfortable range for at least 20 minutes, at least 3 times a week. That's really kind of the minimal cardiovascular physical exercise. Think of what you want to do for that. If you have any ideas, leave a comment after this. We can share them with everyone else. So it has to be part of our life. Okay? So in order to really get your lifestyle in a place where you're going to be healthy and enjoy your life for the long term, we need to look at these 3 things: our supplementation, our eating, and our fitness. Now, we experience life through our physical bodies, right? We experience the deliciousness of life. Everything we experience, our sight and sound, everything is through our bodies. So as our organ systems begin to function better, we have more mental clarity, we will experience a higher level of life. A higher level of life. Now, a lot of people say, well, why should I do this? Well, you don't know how good you're going to feel because you never felt like that before. Once you feel like that, you'll say, wow, but you've never felt like that before. So what I'm trying to say is it's all good. It's all really going to make you more prosperous, more happy. Your relationships are going to go better. Exercise, like I always say in my Pilates videos, our physical fitness affects every other area of our life, and our wholeness and wellness does too. Our example is what really counts. We can't change anyone around us. We really can't. But if we are happy and we show our example to them, then they surely will follow along. We see it over and over again. Right now, Rona gave the example of she's working on her Pilates video, and her husband doesn't have her attention, so he'll go out for his fast walk. Is that what he does? So he'll go out for his walk. So he's getting the example from his wife, which is really good.